How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve.
Multiplier podcast. As always, I am your host, Jaime Filer, and I am stoked to be joined by our TRM leader, one of the only other femme fatales on the team, Amanda Boysen. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm pretty great. We had an awesome group call earlier today, a couple sales calls, chilled by the pool. I'm good. How is your studio?
It's great. Yeah, we're currently in studio right now, actually. So I apologize for any background noise, but all's well. Busy but good.
Amazing. It's so authentic. So we haven't had you on the podcast in a while. Give the people a refresher, my friend. I would love your history as the owner of AJF Studios and a valued TRM leader.
Yeah. So I guess a brief history. I first got into fitness for mental health, more than physical, actually. I discovered my passion for fitness when I was battling severe anxiety myself, and I was desperate for a solution and started running, and I actually realized that fitness makes a massive difference when it comes to internal and external. So that's how I fell in love with fitness in the first place. Yep. I then dove more and more into it, got more and more excited about it, and started getting into weight training and started competing. I worked at Good Life for years, and it was when I got into fitness in the first place, especially when I started weight training, that I really realized that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to help other women feel the immense benefit that physical strength could have on your mental strength as well. So I worked at Good Life for years. That was my start. But I always knew that having my own business, having my own gym, my own ability to make an impact as a unique brand was the long-term goal. So I left Good Life 6 years ago, I think, and was subleasing out of a private facility for a while. And then 3 years ago, I opened AJF Studio here in Waterloo, Ontario, and we now have a small team in studio, and we're only growing from here.
Amanda, such an incredible story. And that is what I want to focus on for the remainder of this podcast is your journey from solopreneur to having a small team, because it's had its ups and downs for sure. So in your own words, how has the transition from solo to team been for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I first opened the gym, it was such a huge milestone and it was so exciting. But after the gym was open, I was kind of like, okay, what's next? Like, what's the next step, right? Yeah, and I very quickly realized, I only have so many hours in the day. I can only help so many people in one day's time, have so many people on my roster. So the logical next step became, okay, I need other people on the AJF team to be able to impact more women. Yep. So it was a bit of a transition for me from coaching clients to learning how to coach coaches. And it required, honestly, me to develop myself a lot as a leader and to develop my leadership skills. Part of that was learning how to find the right people for the brand and what to do, what not to do. So it was definitely a pretty big learning curve, to be honest, but it's been really, really rewarding to feel myself growing along the way too,
Absolutely. And in so many different facets, like you said, it's not just about coaching people, because that doesn't require a whole lot of leadership. It's a skill, but it's not leadership. Tell me about the evolution of your hires as well, because it's not just an assistant coach that makes up the AJF team.
Yeah. So like I said, it was a big learning curve. Honestly, it's kind of like, this is a weird analogy to make, but hiring the right people for your team is kind of like dating. Okay. And I mean this because you realize along the way what you want, what you don't want, what works well for the brand and for the team, what doesn't work well for the brand and for the team. And I feel like you become more and more picky, and you learn. One of the things that I learned along the way was to take my time finding the right person.
Yeah.
But if I have the wrong person on my team, to not hesitate to make that adjustment and, move on to someone else, right? So being able to, really look at your brand from the outside looking in and see, okay, who meshes well together, who's going to bring different elements to the team as well, because I don't want a bunch of duplicates of me. I want uniquely powerful coaches and staff.
Yep. Yep. That makes so much sense. And that's really valuable advice. Essentially, the hire slow, fire fast. I'm curious what's been the best business advice someone's ever given you?
Oh man. So with regards to hiring, this I have to give Mathew credit for, actually, because he said this in a call once, and it was like a light bulb went off above my head. So when it comes to hiring, right, and building your team specifically, he said the one thing you can't teach, Amanda, is personality. Any skill can be taught. Someone can have, of course, the basic credentials for a role, right? Certain things you need legally, but you can build on so many skill sets and learn and grow with someone. But if the personality and the base moral core values that person has aren't a match, that's not going to change. You can't change someone in that way, right? So that was a big thing for me, was, okay, now I'm looking for someone who has the right core values, who has the right personality fit, not just looks good on paper,
Which is a perfect segue into my next question. What is one of the biggest challenges your business has had to overcome? Is it a personnel issue? Is it a clash of values issue? Is it a whatever, like a COVID issue? Tell me about your business.
Honestly, I think one of the biggest challenges for me, I apologize if you can hear my dog in the background, by the way.
So
I think, honestly, this is real life, people. Honestly, I think the biggest challenge for me personally in business has been being consistent with my own mindset and headspace in particular, because there are so many different areas of life, right, that are going to come into play in your personal life. And if your headspace isn't 100%, you're not going to see opportunities that you would have otherwise seen. You're not going to be as productive. You're not going to be as good a leader for your team. So I think the biggest challenge for me still even has been managing where my own mindset is at and keeping it consistent.
Yeah.
Because as humans, we have emotion, and emotions are not consistent. They are turbulent, right? Woo! So learning to manage that is like the hardest part, for sure.
What does that look like for you? I don't like using the word try, that it lets you off the hook, but what does it look like, the attempt to keep your own self-care consistent?
Yeah. The attempt to keep my own self-care consistent. I mean, honestly, there are certain staples that I know fill my cup, and a lot of it goes back to that, like, mental and physical strength connection that kind of first got me started, to be honest with you. My own workouts, they have to be a priority. They have to be in place. And I've learned I have to make sure I'm not working during my workouts. I'm not messaging clients back on my rest periods. I'm not working on a post on my rest periods. I'm focused, right? Certain things as well, like getting outside, like nature has such a huge power. And it brings me back to when I first started working out in general. I started with outdoor running because that was all I knew how to do. Yeah. But that was what really gave me that inner peace in the beginning. So I think being outside, going for a dog walk, breaking up my day in some capacity with that is really, really helpful too. Yep. And a morning and evening routine. I know this has been my nemesis for ages. Yeah. But I will say, like, when my evening routine allows me to actually wind down before bed, and my morning routine allows me to start the day a bit slower, it helps immensely with headspace.
Totally. Now, I appreciate you being honest and vulnerable with your own struggles. As a TRM leader, what would you say are the 3 most common issues or questions that arise when you're leading your breakout rooms or when you're doing the group coaching calls? What's a common, 3 common problems that you see?
I think Well, a lot of it comes down to consistency with social media. That's a big one. It
Yes.
comes up all the time.
Yes, 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 yes. Yep.
And that ties right into like having the confidence to be authentically yourself. And like that ties into the whole imposter syndrome thing, which I would say is number 2, right? Like the third thing I would say is having too many things on the go at once, like having your hand in too many different buckets and not ever giving 100% to any one thing.
Oh, so smart.
So those are 3 big things.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are massive. And I would definitely echo, honestly, all 3 of them. I would say those come up for me as well, coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to kind of the beginning when we were talking about hiring, firing, finding employees that are congruent with your core values and your mission statement, how has your business grown specifically since January of this year? So we're almost halfway through the year.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of evolution and growth has AJF seen?
Yeah. Well, earlier this year in January, actually, I did fire and hire because of those core values, right?
Yep.
AJF had just evolved into something that required a different skill set for the role, and the person in the role didn't have those skill sets. So it was just one of those things where it was a tough decision, but it had to be done for the growth of the business and for the best. And our social media manager now is new as of this year, and it's been a fantastic change. It's taken a load off my plate because she does all of our content filming, editing. She's fantastic with navigating social media and knowing what's going to trend at any given moment, all those things. So that was one move that was made that definitely was for the best.
Totally.
The other thing I would say is we've started to enter, I'm not going to say too much because this is launching this year, but we're starting to enter into new territory, like bringing a new service into the gym as well. That's already being trial ran as we speak, but that will lead to another hire this year. So there's a lot of growth still to come. We've also been exploring different avenues when it comes to marketing, which I think is a big thing that I'm proud of and excited about, but it's a big thing I think a lot of people hesitate with as well. We've started doing events for businesses, for other businesses, for their employees. And that's been a fantastic way to build connections in the region and build a name. So a lot of cool things happening, that's for sure.
There's so much coming down the pipeline. What is your vision for AJF 3 years from now?
Yeah. Well, 3 years from now, we will not be in this particular space. I will tell you that much. We'll definitely be in a much larger space.
Yeah, yep. There it is. There it is. Okay, great.
Yeah. And honestly, I want to we're already building such an amazing community of women in our region, but I really want to create a hub for women to come to not just have one-on-one personal training and online coaching, but also have group training, have other workshops and services available to them. I want to bring in a massage therapist on site, right? Or someone for classes. I want women to be able to come to AJF and have it be a community that's welcoming to them, that makes them feel empowered, somewhere that's great for any woman with, any fitness level to come and experience and feel her most confident. And I want to spread the impact beyond just the KW region.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see what that looks like and how your vision manifests in reality in 2027. And I know that, if we think back 3 years ago, it flew by.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just so excited for where you guys are headed in the upcoming years, for sure.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I literally just got the keys to this place, and it was a convenience store, and I had to renovate everything, and I'd never hired anyone. Like, what a difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Crazy. So in terms of going back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
How young are we talking here?
Let's say 23. 23.
Okay. So I was probably still a good life at that time, I would assume.
Okay.
I would say, honestly, I would tell my younger self to just keep freaking pushing and to be confident in her decision to pursue her passions despite what anyone else said. Because I know when I was at Good Life, when I was in that place, so many of the personal trainers around me would say all the time, oh, this is just a starting point for me. I'm going to leave. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to do it. But then none of them did it.
Yeah.
And then when I was thinking about doing it, all of a sudden people started saying, oh, I don't know. How are you going to get clients? That's risky. What are you going to, there's so much overhead. How are you going to afford that? There was all this doubt around me.
Yeah.
But I was confident in myself. So I just said, screw it, and did it anyways. Right.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, to young Amanda, and really to anyone else who wants to take that plunge and create something amazing that they can envision, right? Just freaking do it. Because as long as you're passionate and you're unwavering in your pursuit of what you're after, you're going to get it eventually. It's literally just a matter of time. So just stay persistent and keep going.
Oh my God, we could totally end the podcast there. What a mic drop. That's brilliant. It's funny. I mean, so much of our story parallel from the anxiety, mental health to why we're in business in terms of empowering women. But I remember graduating York University with a degree in kinesiology, and I knew that I was going to be a personal trainer because I loved it more than anything. It was my calling. It wasn't a job, but everyone else in my graduating class was thinking in terms of doctor, chiropractor, RD. And I was like, that's what you guys are going to do with that? And they're like, that's what you're going to do with that? Just watch, just wait. So what you said about just knowing your calling so much resonates with me. Definitely.
Yeah. I love that.
What are your current influences, Amanda? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to?
I mean, well, aside from TRM and the fantastic leaders there, honestly, I've been watching I watch a lot of other fitness entrepreneurs, I suppose. People who I consider to be a million miles further ahead than I am, but who inspire the heck out of me. Okay. Because I feel like seeing where someone started and seeing what they've created, I don't find that intimidating. I think, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. Like, if they can do it, that's evidence that it's possible, right?
If you could give specific examples of the fitness entrepreneurs that you follow and the podcasts you're listening to.
Yeah. I really have been loving, to be honest, like I said, Christian Guzman, Andy Frisell is another big one that I always like to follow as well. Those are the main two at the moment, to be honest. Books that I've been reading the 48 Laws of Power. That was one that I found really resonated. Yeah, and The Gap and the Gain, that's been a big one actually recently that I've really been liking as well. Just talking about I found it really helps with mindset, like focusing on focusing on all the direction you're going and your accomplishments thus far versus focusing on how far you still have to go.
Yep, could not agree more. Amazing. All right, Amanda, before I let you go, let's finish with some fun. If you had one superpower, what would it be and why?
One superpower. Okay, the first one that comes to my mind, this is kind of lame, but I feel like I'd want to fly.
Why is that lame? Oh my God, especially in traffic, dude. I think it would be an amazing superpower.
I feel like that'd just be cool. And you'd feel free, you know? Like, I love running, I love sprinting. So flying would be an even better version of that, you know?
Yeah, it's the next level for sure.
Yeah.
If there was one dream vacation, dream destination that you and Andrew would go on, where would it be?
I would love, and this is a goal for next year actually. I would love to go to Germany.
Nice. Why Germany?
I've been there before, but I have family there and I have childhood memories there. Like, we visited when I was young, and I would love to be able to experience that with Andrew as well.
Oh, nice.
So that's the next on our list for sure.
That's really sweet. Cool. Amanda, thank you so much for your time and energy. As always, love having you on, love hearing about your growth, coaching you through it. It's so amazing and inspiring.
Thanks for having me. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but it's been a pleasure.
You're good, friend. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about AJF, TRM?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram. My handle is Amanda Jean Fit with an underscore at the end, or at AJF Team is our studio page. And then you can also find us at amandajeanfit.com.
Perfect. Guys, I am at Jaime91. We are at Trainer Revenue Multiplier. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. If you like what you heard, make sure you rate, share, subscribe, tag us and stuff on social media so we can share it back. And in the meantime, we will catch you with the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Bye.